Hey guys, Dr. D here with another music production lesson. Today we're going to learn about automation. And I'm going to show you first how to do this stuff in Ableton Live, how you use automation to automate effects and parameters of effects and various knobs and anythings that you wish to control how it changes or how it stays the same. Okay, so let's get to it. Boom. All right, so I've got an Ableton session open up here. And what I'm going to start with is, let's go with the drums. So, what I'd like to have happen here is the drums start like they're in a tin can and then slowly expand and become more bassy. And what I'm going to use is a EQ filter to do that, and I'm going to automate it. So let me give you a little demo here of what I'm talking about and show you. So I'm going to use the auto filter, which is honestly just like an EQ with a high pass or low pass setting. And what happens when I use that low pass filter there, or if I switch it up and do a high pass filter, as I open or close that filter, I can get that effect that I was talking about. So the best way to do this is to automate it. Now, to automate things in Ableton Live, there's a few ways of doing it, but the way that I usually do it, the quickest way, is to figure out which effect parameter I want to change. And if you're looking at my screen here, you can see that the EQ filter is kind of that, that knob that has that effect that I'm looking for. I want to automate this. So what you can do is literally click on that effect, and if you're in Ableton Live 10 Suite, you'll have a automation on and off kind of view button here, and whatever parameter you click on, you will see that automation show up in a lane. So basically it's like a line that goes across this. Now if you're seeing on my track, on the right side of my track, I have this these two tabs here that have lists of things underneath them. This is where I can control the various parameters. So if I have several different automated effects going on one track, I can page through the list of the ones that I have active. So I'm going to go ahead and get this effect going. I want this thing to start like kind of here and then go to like here. I'm looking up here at that line. See how that line rises and falls? Ballpark, I want it to start about there. And then I'm going to click on the lane, on the line here, that red line. And if you just click anywhere, it's going to put a little point, and that point can be moved up and down. If I want to have a more of a sloped angle or a sloped curve, concave curve to that line rather than just a straight line, I can hold down Option on a Mac, and I can bend that line and make it a, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, and you can make that kind of a more of a curved line. Another thing you can do is use the pencil tool to do this. If you use the B key, you can see my cursor now changes into a pencil, and that can also be used to add effect or add like angles and change the line of my automation lane. Okay, so get rid of that. See what I got here. We want this a little bit lower. Boom. Okay, cool. So I can tweak these and make this kind of like, do what I want it to do. If you notice on the effect parameter down in the device view down here, you can see a little red dot, and that's how I can tell that there is a automation set on this. If you click on this and move it around, you see that red dot goes away. Basically what happened is I kind of deactivated my automation, and if I want to reactivate that, I can right click and I can choose several options. Show automation in new lane, show automation, re-enable automation, or delete or return to default. So I can re-engage that automation. Another way of viewing automation, if you have multiple automations going at once, maybe I'll go ahead and change change the volume a little bit too. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on the volume. Oh no, I'm going to click on the panning. So I clicked on this little bar right here. This is where your panning is. And I want to automate that too. I want it to start from like, the left speaker or the right speaker, left speaker, and go swing across the right speaker and then come back to the center again. So that's kind of the effect I'm going for with this. So you can kind of hear that thing swirl back and forth in the speakers, even though it's not stereo. Just imagine it in the center. Boom. Okay, cool. So we've got two automations going at once. Now, managing automations once they're going, the best way to do that is you can select between the automations that are active. Here's a long list of things, but what I'm looking for here is the red dot. So there's an auto filter and there's a mixer. So the mixer is where I have the track panning going as far as my automation. And then the auto filter has the frequency parameter being automated. And then if you see this little plus sign down here at the bottom of the that square, this allows me to show the automation in a different lane. And I can also have an additional one. I believe I can have two at once, maybe. Let's see here. Let me try the mixer, and I'm going to add that too. So, whoa, cool. I have two lanes of the automations showing at the same time. I can collapse those easily by clicking on that arrow there, or I can minimize one or the other, and they go away. But these secondary lanes are kind of nice because if you need to copy or paste automation, this is kind of where I usually try to do that type of stuff. So if I want this effect to happen, like, okay, here's my automation lane. This is the specific lane for automation. It's not the actual track where I would edit, and then cut or anything like that. I'm just going to copy this area right here. I've selected it. I'm going to use Control or Command C to copy it, depending on PC or Mac. And I want to go to another spot in the song where this sort of thing happens again. Put my cursor there, Command Paste, and then I have that same effect going on there. Okay, so automation can be copied and pasted, and you can view various multiple lanes of the automation and select the different parameters that you wish to see, and that's kind of a quick tutorial on managing and applying automation. Another way of this isn't automation, but MIDI mapping is another way of doing this in real time with a physical controller. So I'm going to throw the view over here on my MIDI controller, and what I'm going to try to do here is kind of just really quickly kind of show you how to do this. So on Ableton Live PC, you would probably use Control M, but on a Mac it's Command M. So when I hit Command M, what happens here is all the parameters everywhere on the screen are essentially turned into purple squares, and this is how I can map the automation of a parameter to a knob or fader or something on my controller. So say I want to maybe, I don't know, let's see here, how about volume? Let's do something simple. So volume on my drum track. Okay, here's my volume parameter right there, and I click on it, and I've selected the parameter that I want to automate, and then I come over to my MIDI controller and I literally just push one of the faders, and you can see over here on the left side of the screen that that has been mapped to this knob. And whenever I move that up and down, basically it's going to change that parameter. Now I can do minimum and max values. If I don't want it to swing too far up and down, I can kind of set these values to be minimum and max, so that when I move this knob up and down all the way, it goes from the sweet spot to the sweet spot on the high end, whatever I'm looking for. Okay, so to get out of MIDI mapping mode, you hit Escape, and you can get back out of that, and hopefully, look what happens. I've got my volume set to be automated. Yeah. All right, so that's MIDI mapping. You can do stuff like that and record it live, perform it live, but MIDI mapping is another way of doing sort of automation, but in real time with tactile controller stuff. All right, guys, keep it real, keep producing music, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Peace.